And we have to start educating people about all kinds of beauty.
Yes.
Do we?
Why?
And our beauty is so powerful and so unique.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going. What does she mean by our beauty? Who's our?
What do you mean, you people?
That it is worthy of the conversation, and it's worthy of demanding the respect that we're owed for who we are and what we offer to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ah, I see. So what Michelle Obama wants to do is educate us whites on how black people can actually be beautiful, didn't you know?
I see now what I've never seen before!
Now, I don't think that most of us white people have an issue with that. I don't think she's going to come up against much opposition to the idea that other races can also be beautiful. However, for those of us amongst us that need to be weeded out, I guess she wants to run some kind of course for them, you know? Not sure how you would do that. You'd have to, gather them together somehow, all of these racist whites. Maybe offering a free day out in the countryside or something, where you would lure them into an enclosure where they could concentrate, you know? And but it would be easy enough, I think. You'd just show these bigots a few photos of 2000s era Halle Berry and Rihanna and break for lunch and...
I'm cured! Praise God!
You know, anyone who was still denying science would have to take a little trip to the showers, perhaps.
Oh dear.
However, I do worry about Michelle Obama's use of the possessive adjective our.
Our beauty is so powerful and so unique.
It sounded like that she was suggesting that she and Binky Barnes here are going to be included on this course.
Stop it, please, I beg you! It's a sin! It's a sin! It's a sin!
That's going to take, a very lengthy dissertation.
Michelle Obama's walking, we can't let her go. She's a classy lady, we just love her so. We got Michelle Obama.
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
Okay, so I'm sure that all of you are going to be as thrilled as I was to learn that Michelle Obama has got yet another book out. And as if that weren't enough, it's accompanied by a mini podcast series, a podcast mini-series with the same name. They're both, the book and the podcast, they're titled The Look. Ooh, very cool, eh? And basically the idea of this book and this podcast is to explain to everybody just how. Just we need to get into her mind, like how did she manage to pull off all of those bold, beautiful, sexy, elegant looks? Back in the 2010s when her husband was president. And, luckily for us, not only did we get a book and a podcast miniseries, she's now doing the rounds of every talk show and every podcast that we'll have her on to promote, celebrate the launch of the book and mini podcast series.
So I wanted to take advantage of the fact that as the First Lady, yes, you can be smart and educated and beautiful and sexy and interesting and all those things.
Mm-hmm. All things that you will remember, of course, Michelle Obama was to the maximum. Not just sexy, but she was bloody riveting to listen to too. What a crazy thing to say about yourself with no hint of sarcasm or playfulness, just like, I wanted to show the world how bloody brilliant I was in every conceivable way. And by the way, The former First Lady's catching some shade there. Poor old Jackie Kennedy. Only like one of the most stylish women of the 20th century. Just like, I wanted to show the world what a real woman looks like.
So I wanted to take advantage of the fact that as the First Lady, yes, you can be smart and educated and beautiful and sexy and interesting and all those things. And yes, you can be a black woman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, lest we forget. Heaven forbid anyone not notice your greatest character trait, being a black woman. The way she listed all that. I'm educated, I'm intelligent, I'm beautiful, and yes, a black woman. Okay? Can we just wind back to 2008 when her husband won the first of his 2 elections that he won, and where he won more of the white vote than his opponents and the previous president, George Bush. It's like there was nothing you needed to prove. The problem is everyone was so up their own arses about having voted in a black president for 8 years that they treated you, they convinced themselves that they had the most intelligent, elegant, beautiful black woman the world has ever seen in the White House. They were behaving. It was like you were Diana Ross. You are not Diana Ross. You are the most unremarkable woman that's ever lived. You just happened to marry a guy who became president. You're not particularly good looking. You're not very well dressed, despite having an army that follow you everywhere. You just kind of look frumpy and wrong in everything. I'm sorry to say this, but who the hell is still listening to this woman? It really bothers me that she's being trapped in the own myth of her public persona. And now she's going on all of these podcasts, all of these talk shows, and you see she has nothing to say about anything other than, I was black and bold and educated and I was going to show the world how black and bold and educated. Okay, anything else to add? I mean, come on, anything.
A tall 5'11" black woman. Did you see the shoulder? You missed that. Did you see that?
Tall 5'11" black woman. Where does that attitude come from? I mean, what are these windmills she's tilting at? There is no opposition. She's had the easiest route to the top I've ever seen in my life. People voted for your husband twice. And can we underscore that, by the way? They voted for Barack Obama, not Michelle. Okay? You have no discernible talents. Yeah, there's nothing extraordinary about Michelle Obama. And yet she still got this attitude of like, against all odds, I bust my ass and I reach. It's like, you didn't do anything. And now you're writing books about how it is. You know the score, don't you? Podcast after podcast, book after book about how I, a 5'11" black woman, reached the top. You did it, you did, but not. It's like if a lottery winner wrote a book on how to get rich. The book would be a paragraph long, if that. Go to the shop, buy a lottery ticket, pray. Your books should be, well, you know, look for a guy who looks like he could... Does he look presidential? And then from there on in. Because that's it. That's... if he'd have failed at any of the hurdles, you would have had the most normal, run-in-the-mill life. And not a difficult one. You went to Harvard. It's like you would have just been some lawyer somewhere, and that's fine. But you can't sit there and tell us how it is, and talk about your struggles. What struggles? You were in the White House for 8 years and treated like royalty. You were on the cover of Vogue all the time. People were like, oh yeah, that Michelle Obama, she's a real sexy lady, so elegant. Like, they were pretending for 8 years. They treated you like a queen. And now you have the audacity to be upset when people don't recognize you in the street.
I am not out in the world like a normal person anymore, but when I am,
people don't even recognize me. You know why? Because they're on their phones. Nobody is looking at each other. I could walk right past somebody with a hat on, and I'm just a black woman in a cap.
Or when people don't want to listen to what you have to say.
People line up for my advice. And you're walking away like I'm stupid. It's like, I've written books. I've given speeches.
It's because you have nothing to say, or at least you shouldn't have, and if you did, we'd fucking know by now.
I still have procrastination nightmares. Do you guys have those dreams where you were supposed to do something and it's getting closer to the deadline and you didn't do it? How many people have had that dream? I still have that dream. I hate that dream.
Well, when you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm going to have to take it all back. Clearly, Michelle Obama is a very talented public speaker. Look at those troubled inner city youths hanging on her every word as she builds a rapport with them. She's down with the kids. What about that procrastination, Am I right, guys?
I still have procrastination nightmares. Do you guys have those dreams where you were supposed to do something and it's getting closer to the deadline and you didn't do it? How many people have had that dream? I still have that dream. I hate that dream. I live hating that dream. Don't live that dream. Just get it done.
Wow, look at their happy little faces. Say what? If you're thinking about procrastinating, we've all had the procrastination dreams. Don't procrastinate. Get it done. Amazing. And she's just giving away this advice for free, by the way. To think there are people out there who don't take Michelle Obama's advice. Losers. Those people are never going to find their Barack Obama to marry, they're going to be stuck with some loser fucking husband procrastinating away in their living rooms, wanking.
If you're having trouble, get help. Don't let work pile up on you. All it is work. And you worked hard to get here. It's effort in. College is one of those things, effort in equals success on the other end. Not without help, not without struggle, not without some failure. Do not think that that's true. Nobody has this rise up. That's not how life works. Nobody just goes some straight, easy line. Life doesn't work like that for anybody.
Really? It doesn't work like that for anybody, Michelle? Nobody at all? There's no easy straight line to the top. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the death-defying hairpin bends you've had to navigate through your career. So, yes, admittedly, a somewhat working-class upbringing on the south side of Chicago, but there were no guns, drugs, and violence and chaos in Michelle's upbringing. She had two loving parents. Her father worked for the water company in Chicago, and her mother was a secretary, and they sent her to a decent school. They got her into a magnet school for academic high achievers, and then she studied law at Princeton and Harvard. To have that decent amount of intelligence, those loving parents, it's kind of like genetically and environmentally, the world had smiled on Michelle. By her early 20s, she was set for life, essentially. Now, here's my problem. It's the fact that the career path she chose from her early 20s onwards is so similar to other people. You're going to believe I'm describing somebody else I've spoken about in another video. I've spoken about so many people. Every time somebody's full of shit and telling it how it is, like Michelle here, they always have the same career path. Now, you can probably imagine already what she did, if you don't know already. But the fact that this woman is coming to talk to troubled inner city youths about how hard work will get you to the top. Don't procrastinate. You should get it done. If some entrepreneur comes in and says that, if a doctor comes in and says that, if an engineer comes in and says that, if some great artist comes in and says that to a bunch of kids, Those are clear directions. Those are people who believed in what they wanted to do and they achieved it, you know? They set up their business. They became a surgeon and they're operating on people. They became an engineer and they're working at some big company fixing machines. I don't know. Michelle Obama was somebody who was very good at exams, because she was. There are just people like that. She worked at a law firm for about 2 to 3 years, where she met future President Barack Obama. He was her understudy. But they had to pull a few all-nighters there, eh? A few all-nighters with noodles and coffee and thrashing away at the typewriter and God knows what else they were thrashing away at, eh? Each other's genitals, that's what. Whatever they may be. Kidding. Very 80s montage. Now, they lasted about 2 or 3 years at that law firm because very quickly Michelle Obama realized, hey, what the fuck are we doing pulling all these noodle and coffee-infused all-nighters with our 80s shoulder pads here when we could be, look at what those people in the council are doing. We're black lawyers. We could be go-betweens between the local government and local schools, and we could be doing outreach schemes to underrepresented communities and inspiring future generations of Chicago leaders. Bullshit! Snake oil. Nonsense. Vagary. No more all-nighters. No fighting to get to the top of this rigid attorney firm's hierarchy. No more working 16 hours a day and having to get screamed at by our insane clients who are essentially, no, literally, delinquents. We can just be wandering into schools and going between universities and speaking to the mayor. Oh, you want me to do that job, do you, for me, mayor? Okay, that's fine, I'll do that. Don't worry. You just follow the fat cats. They'll keel over eventually and you'll be there to step in. I've seen it all before. These people, you cannot. They have nothing to say to these troubled inner city youths. Michelle Obama can't tell them anything about hard work. She was good at exams. That's just the luck of the draw. If you're good at academia, if you're good at getting good grades, that ain't really hard work. Not for most people. I've met a lot of people in my life. Some people are just really good at doing schoolwork. They're clever, they get it, they're quick. It's not hard work. And then if she had been a top lawyer, if she had set up some company, but no, she was working for non-profits and the Chicago mayor and all this bullshit that nobody can quite define. And then her husband became the president. She'd worked her way up to a career where she was pulling in 200, 300k a year. And then boom, Barack is president for 8 years. She can do book after book, podcast after podcast, telling it how it is. Telling us how it is. Anyway, let's see a few more of the things she's been telling us. We can get an idea of what you're going to see in the book and the podcast from her recent interviews. This is the best stuff that's coming up now. Trust me, it really is. No more rants.
You stepped into a role that carried a preconceived idea of femininity and wifedom that was founded on the landmines of racism and misogyny.
The worst kind of landmines, if you ask me. Yet the only ones the media ever wants to talk about are the ones that blew the limbs off all of those whiny Croatians and Bosniaks 30 years ago. Move on. You haven't got a clue about the perils. You wouldn't last 5 minutes as a black First Lady of the United States.
It's expensive to live in the White House. As many people don't know. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane. It is an expensive proposition, and you're running for 2 years and not earning an income.
Sure, some of you Serbs and Kosovans lost an arm or a leg or two. But at least you never had to fork out, you never had to pay for your children to fly on the First Lady's private jet, okay, with your own hard-earned money, all right? Imagine that.
What the First Lady wears is one of the main ways, which you've already said, that a First Lady is talked about. It comes with so much historical expectation. How do you feel about the fact that the First Lady is an archetype for wifedom and femininity?
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, you sure broke the mold there, Michelle.
Don't agree with that. It's it is a completely throwback on. It's a definition that has no current status in how women actually show up in the world today.
What? What is she saying? She doesn't know what she's saying, does she? She doesn't actually have a personality. There's nothing that... It's like she knows she needs to be in public. She knows her role is to be seen and to be heard, but she gets up to that point. She's done everything in her life has led up to these moments, and they're like, tell us, Michelle, tell us how it is. And she's like, well, I think it's a throwback. It's not, I don't agree with the... Oh, right. So tell me about this book about clothes or whatever it is.
Do you think that impacts the room that we've made for a woman to be president?
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not.
Oh, smug. Y'all aren't ready. Y'all aren't ready. We saw y'all aren't ready for a black woman. What the fuck? Because they didn't vote for Kamala. For Kamala Harris. You don't get to get Michelle Obama. No, sir. Y'all lying. Y'all lying. You wouldn't vote for me. You expect me to run your country? I'm not going to get humiliated. Well, you're just letting all the other women candidates go through first, and then you're waiting for your moment. Of course that's what she's doing. Kamala Harris, people didn't vote for Kamala Harris because she looked and sounded mental. It is like, every time she speaks, it's like she's drunk. She can't string a sentence together. She cackles like a mad hyena. She's incompetent. She's an incompetent boob. If you put a competent black woman up against a less competent candidate of the other party, the black woman will win. It's all about selling ideas. It's as simple as that. Why is it that if a black woman doesn't win something, it's because she's a black woman, everyone's just racist and misogynistic? That's it. But if a black woman wins, it's because she was clearly the best candidate. Even the racists had to admit she was the best candidate. It's so fucking crazy. Kamala Harris would never win. Put Kamala Harris up against another black woman. That's, I think both parties should put a black woman candidate sometimes. I think that to myself. And that way, what fucking excuse could they have? Kamala, they didn't vote for her because she's black. Jesus Christ. She had every mainstream media outlet, all of the big Hollywood stars and TV presenters, Oprah and Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts and Beyonce and Taylor Swift and just everybody. Jennifer Lopez. All of that, nothing could drag that bitch over the line. And Michelle Obama, I think Michelle, to be honest, if she comes up against a weak Republican candidate, she could win. Just for the cachet of her husband, some people still have a fond memory of Barack Obama. It could be enough to get her over the line. Part of me really wants to see that. Two black female candidates. So there's no excuses. It can't be racism. It can't be misogyny. Candace Owens. Well, there's a great example. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Candace Owens against Michelle Obama. That would be one crazy debate. Wow. There would be accusations, lawsuits.
So don't waste my time. You know, we got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it. What was the question?
Well, it wasn't about you running for president, but you went off on quite a long tangent about why you're not going to run for president. Y'all begging me! You don't deserve me! Okay, we'll move on a bit. We'll just take a look at a couple of clips from this interview that I thought were pretty funny. A couple more hot takes from Michelle Obama.
Exposure to the high end of Chicago and to access those places and not be accused of stealing, you realize very early on that you better let them hear you talk or, come in with the right LaSac case, or else you would be watched. And, so I think I learned then that how you show up, especially when it comes to white folks looking at young black kids, that how you present can sometimes save your life. So yeah, I think I was learning that all throughout my youth.
That's an interesting...
Oh yeah, that's absolutely fascinating, Michelle. They didn't shoot you because you dressed neatly. Very good. It's like, what am I supposed to say to that? Yes, if you dress like a thug and you walk into a high-end store, they're gonna look at you. But look, it's pattern recognition. You think chavs in England dressed in TN tracksuits tucked into their socks? You think that people aren't looking at them, even like if they're white? Why are we doing this? I can't even be bothered. Let's take a look at another clip.
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness.
Trapped by the straightness, eh? Sounds like that could be a good title for Barack's new memoir.
That's why so many of us can't swim. And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair? Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't.
Well, I've learned a lot in that short monologue aimed at us white people. I've learned that black people, not very competent swimmers, and that they straighten their hair a lot, and that's expensive. And all of those things are somehow my fault. Okay, I won't touch your hair though, I promise. Okay, I think I've had enough of today's video. I think we all have, haven't we? If you've enjoyed any moment of today's video, then give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, follow me on X and on Instagram, and join my Patreon if you want to help out with the channel even further and get some access to some exclusive videos up on there. And what is my final thought here? Michelle Obama 2028, bring it on. I'll see you in the next one.
Run, crackhead Tony. Run, watch out for that car. Oh. There it go. And then they drove off. There it go. That's why I said watch out for that car. They knocked the pants off crackhead Tony.
I'm saying you just got slapped.
One thing about them crackheads, though, he might be good. Yup, there he go. Told you. Yeah, he ain't doing that dope. He doing steroids. Crackhead Tony, he's shooting steroids in his ass. Pull your pants up. Where your shoes?